Hi, and welcome to this Now Maths Revise Now video on reverse percentages. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at 4 different kinds of questions on reverse percentages. Let's have a look at the question on the left first, and we're going to do this question without a calculator. We have a shop offering 30% off and a coat that's in the sale for £42. We need to work out the price of the coat before it was in the sale. To answer this question, we're going to start off by saying that the original price of the coat has 100% of its value. If it's been reduced in the sale by 30%, we're going to subtract 30% from 100%, and this tells us that 70% of the coat's value still remains. So then we're going to say that 70% must be equal to the sale price of £42. Now we need to go back and work out 100% because that's the price before the coat was in the sale. So we need a number that goes into 70 and into 100. Well, 10 goes into 70 and 10 goes into 100. So let's try and find 10%. If we have 70% and we want to find 10%, we would have to divide by 7 because 70% divided by 7 is 10%. Which means we also need to divide the price by 7, and £42 divided by 7 is £6. Now, if we know 10% and we want to know 100%, 10% multiplied by 10 is 100%. So then we need to multiply the price by 10, and £6 multiplied by 10 is £60. So the original price of the coat must have been £60. Now we'll take a look at the question on the right hand side, and this time we can use a calculator, but we're going to try and keep the method fairly similar. So Humera's car has depreciated or decreased in value, and we know the current value of her car. We're then asked to work out the value of the car when she first bought it. So we're going to start off by saying that the original price of her car had 100% of its value, and we're told it depreciates in value by 65%. So if we subtract 65%, that means that 35% of the value of the car remains. So we can then say that 35% must be equal to the £5,460 that Humera's car is currently worth. We then need to find a number which goes into 35 and into 100. Well, 5 would go into both and 1 would go into both. Given that we've got a calculator this time, I'm just going to jump straight in and try and find 1%. And to go from 35% to 1%, we need to divide by 35. Then we need to divide the price by 35. And £5,460 divided by 35 is £156. Then if we know 1% and we want to know 100%, we are going to have to multiply 1% by 100 to give us 100%. So then multiplying the price by 100, £156 multiplied by 100 is £15,600. So the original price of the car was £15,600. Now we'll take a look at a couple of questions where amounts have been increased and we have to work backwards. So looking at the question on the left first, and we're going to do this without a calculator, we have an antique that has appreciated in value by 20%. So appreciated means the value has increased. It then goes on to tell us that the current value is £420 and we need to work out the value before the appreciation. So let's say that the antique held 100% of its value originally, and this time if it has appreciated by 20%, we need to add 20% onto 100%. So the antique now has 120% of its original value. We can then say that 120% must be equal to the £420 that the antique is now worth. We need to go back and work out what 100% of the value was. So we need a number that goes into 120 and into 100. There are lots of different numbers that do this. We could find 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%, or even 20%, because they are all numbers that go into 120 and 100. Given that we're going to do this without a calculator, I'm going to choose to find 20%, because we're going to have to divide by a smaller number to find 20% than any of the other percentages. And now if we look to go from 120% to 20%, we're going to have to divide by 6, because 120% divided by 6 is 20%, which means we also have to divide the value by 6, and £420 divided by 6 is £70. Now if we know 20% and we want to work out 100%, there are a couple of different ways we could do this. Either we could subtract 20% from 120%, so we could subtract the values, or to get from 20% to 100%, 20% multiplied by 5 is 100%, so multiplying the value by 5, £70 multiplied by 5 is £350. And both methods there would give you the same answer, that the antique was originally worth £350. Now we'll take a look at the question on the right hand side, and we will use a calculator to answer this one. So we're given that the population of a city has increased by 6% in a year. We're given the population now, and we need to go back and work out the population a year ago. So let's start off by saying that the population 1 year ago was 100%. If it has increased by 6%, we need to add 6% on to give us 106%. So the population is 106% of what it was a year ago. So we'll say that 106% is equal to the population now, which is 593,600. Now we need to find a number that goes into 106% and 100%. The only percentages that do that are 1 and 2. And given that we've got a calculator, similar to what we did previously, I'm just going to go straight in and try and find 1%. Because to get from 106% to 1%, we can divide by 106. And then using our calculator, dividing 593,600 by 106 gives us 5,600. Then when we know 1%, to work out 100%, which is the value we're looking for, multiplying 1% by 100 is 100%, and multiplying the population by 100, 5,600 multiplied by 100 is 560,000. So the population a year ago was 560,000. Thank you so much for watching this Now Maths video on reverse percentages, and don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for more help with your maths. See you next time.